I had always believed that death was simply the end, a silent sleep in the dark. I never imagined that one single night could rip open the curtain between this life and the next, showing me a place so horrifying that even now my voice trembles to speak of it. I was born into Islam. I followed the prayers, I fasted, I learned the verses, but my heart was empty. I thought heaven was a reward for good works and hell was for the very bad people. I never thought it could be for me. But on the night of August 12th, 2019, my soul left my body. I found myself falling, not floating, falling into a darkness so deep I could taste it. And when I landed, I was not alone. What I saw there changed everything. I can't unsee it. And I can't keep it to myself. Before I take you deeper into my testimony, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you to every one of you who listens to these stories, shares them, and prays for this ministry. This channel is more than a platform. It's a family of people hungry for the truth. I see your comments from all over the world, and it reminds me that God is raising up voices in every nation to warn and to prepare. So, if you're watching this right now, pause for a moment and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I read every single one. Your support means this message travels further, and someone, somewhere, hears the truth before it's too late. Now, take a deep breath, because from here, the story gets darker, much darker, before the light comes. I was born in Kano State, northern Nigeria, in a small Muslim community where the sound of the muezzin's called prayer was the heartbeat of our mornings and evenings. My earliest memories are of my mother spreading out her prayer mat, her forehead touching the ground, her lips moving in words I did not understand as a child, but learned to recite later without question. We were taught early that Islam was the only truth. We memorized verses, we fasted during Ramadan, we respected our elders, and we feared Allah. But fear was not the same as love. My fear was hollow, mechanical. It was more about avoiding shame in the community than knowing the one who created me. As I grew older, I became the good child in the eyes of my family, obedient, respectful, quiet. But inside, I was restless. I had questions no one could answer without silencing me. If Allah is merciful, why do I still feel so far from him? If paradise is promised to the righteous, how do I know I have done enough? I buried these doubts under religious performance. I prayed 5 times a day, not out of love, but duty. I fasted even when my body shook from weakness because I was told that's what earns favor. I read the Quran, but the words felt like heavy stones in my mouth. I wanted something alive, something that would touch me. By my late teens, the weight of religion without relationship began to drain me. I started living a double life. Outwardly, I was the devout Muslim daughter. Inwardly, I was experimenting with sin. I began attending secret gatherings with friends, parties where the music was loud and the laughter reckless. I tasted alcohol for the first time and felt the sharp burn in my throat. I told myself it was harmless. I began lying to my parents, I hid my habits, I hid my doubts. Deep down, I feared hell, but I thought it was far away, reserved for the murderers, the thieves, the adulterers. I was not that bad. I believed my good deeds would outweigh my bad ones, that maybe God would overlook my mistakes. One memory still haunts me. I was 22, sitting alone in my room during Ramadan, staring at the ceiling fan spinning lazily above me. I remember whispering into the darkness, Allah, if you are real, if you care for me, show me something, anything. But the silence that followed was so deep, I felt as though my words had evaporated before reaching anywhere. Over the years, my heart grew numb. I stopped asking questions. I stopped seeking. I decided to live for the moment, thinking that perhaps religion was only a comfort for the old and the dying. And then, the sickness came. It started as an ordinary fever. I thought it was just malaria. But within 3 days, my body felt like it was on fire from the inside. My breath grew shallow, my heart beat irregular. My family rushed me to the hospital, but the doctors could not stabilize me. I remember my mother's face, pale with fear, her lips trembling as she clutched my hand and whispered prayers. The night of August 12th, 2019, my breathing slowed, my vision blurred. I heard the faint beeping of the monitor beside me, each sound further apart than the last. And then, everything went still. I felt my chest tighten like a fist was squeezing my heart. My ears began to ring, drowning out the sound of my mother's voice. The hospital rooms started to fade, the fluorescent lights dimming until they were nothing but distant stars in a black sky. Then, silence. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that makes your stomach drop, as though the world has stopped breathing. At first, I thought I was dreaming. I was standing, but my body was still lying on the bed. I could see the nurses rushing in, their voices frantic, my mother screaming my name. I tried to call out, "I'm here," but no sound left my lips. It was like I was invisible to them. Suddenly, the floor beneath me gave way. I wasn't floating upward as I had imagined death would be. I was being pulled down. My feet dangled in nothingness, and then an invisible force gripped me like icy chains and yanked me into a tunnel so dark that the blackness seemed alive. The descent was rapid, suffocating. The air grew hotter and heavier with each passing second. I heard whispers at first, low and slithering like voices speaking in a language older than time. Then came the screams. Thousands, maybe millions, all crying out at once in agony. A stench hit me, so foul it clawed at my throat. It was the smell of burning flesh mixed with decay, sulfur, and something worse, hopelessness itself. My mind raced. This isn't real. This can't be real. But then I saw them. Shapes began to emerge from the darkness. Human, but not fully. Their skin hung in strips, their eyes hollow sockets that still somehow wept. Some gnawed their own hands, others clawed at invisible walls as though trying to escape. Every scream pierced through me, vibrating my very soul. One of them turned toward me. Her voice was like broken glass. "Why didn't you warn me?" I stumbled back. I don't know you." Her jaw unhinged in a scream that shook the air. "You were supposed to tell us! You were supposed to tell us about him!" Before I could respond, something cold and razor-sharp brushed against my arm. I turned and froze. Towering over me was a creature unlike anything I had ever seen. Its skin was like molten rock, glowing from cracks that revealed a fire inside. Its eyes burned sickly yellow, and each breath it exhaled smelled of sulfur. When it spoke, its voice was a growl layered with echoes, as if thousands of demons spoke through one throat. "You don't belong to him. You belong to us." The creature's claws wrapped around my neck. I felt my soul burning where it touched me. Not just my skin, my soul. It began to drag me deeper, past rivers of lava where forms writhed and screeched, past pits where shadows beat and tormented the captives. I realized then, hell was not just fire. It was isolation, regret, the eternal replay of every sin with no way to erase it. I wanted to pray, but the words wouldn't come. All I could do was think, God, please. And then I heard it. A voice. Clear, steady, piercing through the chaos. She is mine. The creature shrieked, its grip snapping open. The darkness recoiled. I was falling again, but this time not downwards.
The voice was unlike anything I had ever heard, not just in my ears, but in my bones. It carried a weight that silenced the screams, stilled the rivers of fire, and made the very air tremble.
She is mine.
Everything in hell seemed to freeze for a heartbeat. The demon that had gripped me let out a roar so loud it felt like it could split the ground open. Its claws withdrew as if burned by an unseen flame. Around me, the shadows writhed, shrinking back into the darkness like rats fleeing a sudden light. Then, I saw it. A beam of light breaking through the suffocating black. It was narrow at first, then widened until it was all I could see. It wasn't just bright. It was alive. It carried with it a warmth that soaked into me, melting the cold terror that had gripped my soul. I tried to shield my eyes, but the light wasn't painful. It was healing. It reached into places in me I didn't even know were broken. And then, through the light, I saw him. Jesus. I knew it instantly, not because I had studied his face, but because my soul recognized him. His eyes. Oh, his eyes. They were fire and mercy all at once. They saw every sin, every lie, every hidden thought, and yet, instead of condemnation, they poured out love. I fell to my knees, weeping without control. I don't deserve you. I don't deserve. He spoke, and his words were like living water. I did not come because you deserve me. I came because I love you. I came because I paid for you with my blood. I came because your time is not yet finished. Tears blurred my vision. My voice cracked. But I am not even one of your followers. His expression didn't change. It was steady, unmoving. You will be. Go back and tell them. Tell them I am real. Tell them hell is real. And tell them my mercy is for all who will come. Behind him, the horrors of hell seemed to vanish into an endless distance, as though his very presence pushed it away. The air was filled now with the faint scent of something sweet, like blooming flowers after rain. I reached out toward him, desperate not to lose this moment. Please don't let me go back there, ever. He placed his hand on my head. The touch was weightless, but it sent a flood of peace through me. If you follow me, you never will. And then, like a wave crashing against the shore, the light engulfed me completely. I gasped. My eyes flew open. I was back in the hospital bed. The heart monitor was screaming, nurses shouting orders, my mother clutching my hand and sobbing uncontrollably. Air rushed into my lungs like the first breath after drowning. But something was different. I knew I could never be the same. When I opened my eyes in that hospital bed, it felt like I had been reborn into a world I had never truly seen before. Every detail, the hum of the fluorescent light, the warmth of my mother's hand, the cool air against my skin, felt like a gift. I couldn't stop crying.
Not tears of fear this time, but gratitude. The doctors were baffled. One of them whispered to my mother that I had been gone for nearly 4 minutes. They didn't understand how I had come back, let alone in full consciousness. But I knew exactly why. From that day, everything changed. I could no longer pray the way I had before, empty, mechanical, out of duty. I began seeking Jesus with the desperation of someone who had been pulled from a burning building. I asked for a Bible. I read it with hunger, every page piercing through years of deception and emptiness. The words of John 14:6 burned in my mind. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. My habits changed. The secret sins lost their grip. The parties, the lies, the double life, gone. I could no longer live in a way that dishonored the one who had literally rescued me from hell. It was not easy. My family was shocked, some angry. Friends called me a traitor. But the peace I felt in Jesus was worth every cost. I began sharing my testimony even with those who mocked me. I no longer feared their rejection. I feared only God. Hell was no longer a distant concept. I had been there, and I was never going back. I need you to understand, hell is not a story to scare you. It is real. I have seen it, heard it, smelled it. I have felt its hopelessness, and I have met the one who saves us from it. Please don't gamble with your soul. No religion, no good deeds, no traditions can save you. Only Jesus can. If you are living in sin, repent today. If you think you have time, you may be wrong. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Your eternity starts with your choice. I've shared my story because I believe someone watching this is standing where I once stood, close to the edge, thinking there's still time. Please hear me. There may not be. Do you believe hell is real? Have you ever had an experience that shook you to the core? I want to hear from you. Share your thoughts or testimony in the comments. I read every one. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being part of this community. Until next time, stay ready, stay watchful, and may the peace of Christ guard your heart.